Happy New Year, Virgo. Let's have a look at your astrology and tarot for 2023. So we're going to start with the astrology and starting with Jupiter. Jupiter's sitting in your 8th sector currently. It's going to be there until the middle of May when it moves into the 9th sector. So while it's in the 8th sector, and it has been there, well, only since December, middle of December, when Jupiter went into Aries, this is a time when things can be quite fortunate around situations with relative to other people's money, inheritance, or partnership, when or the money of partners that can be related to as well. So, expansion and opportunities and growth can come through incorporating money with others or with other family members, but also, it's a time when you could be looking after other people's money. I'm talking about family again, and it's also a time when there can be a lot of expansion and growth to do with assets. In a way of setting up something for not just for yourself, but again for the whole family situation. So joining with others or connecting in with families, trusts, anything around that, that's all relative to the 8th house. The 8th house is also about, what we're wanting to release, and with Jupiter there, it's, there's nothing too hard, but you'll find that if there is anything coming up that you want to change, release, let go of, patterns, behaviours, attitudes, physical things, it's going to be very easy with Jupiter sitting in that placement. Now, when Jupiter moves into your 9th sector on the 17th of May, this is a great time for travel. Jupiter is very happy in the 9th sector because the 9th sector relates to Sagittarius, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And, that energy is all about overseas. It's also about, it's the outer world. So it's about culture. It's about philosophy and understanding, higher knowledge. It's about belief systems. And with Jupiter there, you're going to want to expand or look at, certain understandings to do with cultures and belief systems, or philosophy, even history can come into that. It's when we step outside of our own environments and step out into the bigger world or the bigger picture. Jupiter there is, you could be inclined to wanting to do higher learning of that sort of nature. But with it being there for how long is Jupiter in Taurus for? Let me have a quick look. Sorry. Jupiter is in Taurus for quite a while. It went through Aries really quickly, December to May, and then Jupiter is in Taurus all the way up to June next year. So that whole time is going to be quite a big cycle for travel or for extending on your knowledge or gaining more understanding. I mean, we don't have to travel far these days to learn about, the outer world with the internet. But, there could be more physical travel as well with this, or it could come up unexpectedly. So Saturn is currently sitting in your 6th sector. So it's been in your 6th sector for quite a while now, which can be quite probably tiring around the work situation. Your 6th sector is your daily routine, your work. If you work from home, it's going to be relative to, of course, the home environment, in the sense that it's your daily routine and that this is where you are working from, so it's your work. And, with it there, it sort of means that it's been, work's been a bit hard, it's been a bit tiring, it's been all hard work and not enough play, and you're having to, you're actually gaining a lot of knowledge and growth and preparation for your future during this time, but it can just feel like it's just a hard slog. You're nearly out of that, so you've got till the 8th of March before Saturn moves out of that 6th sector of work and into your sector of relationship. So with Saturn in that 7th sector, that can have within marriage and within relationships and partnerships, sometimes some difficulties in understanding each other, or sometimes some differences can be quite obvious, and we can feel a little bit withdrawn from each other. But on the other side of it, especially with maturity, Saturn always favours maturity, and with that, it can mean like there can be situations where you may feel you're going to be ready to commit to marriage or to a relationship. So, it can work either way with Saturn sitting there, but relative to relationships, you'll be looking at it quite in a serious way. It's not in a light-hearted way. It's in a more serious way. So anything that sort of isn't meant to last, sort of can really be questioned quite seriously at that time, with Saturn in the seventh. But anything that is sort of meant to be there for your future and is going to be very long-lasting will be quite clear and evident. But at the same time, there may be Saturn can bring up the fears of commitment. So, those issues may be brought up for those that are looking at commitment at that time. So, Uranus is in your ninth sector. Now, again, that's the travel sector, and it means that, travel can come in unexpectedly. You could have sudden news from overseas or sudden connections happening from overseas. But with Uranus here, it's sort of like there's a lot of realizations. Uranus relates to the high mind, and it's when sudden realizations can hit us very quickly. And with Uranus here, it's like you may come to some sudden understandings relative to all that ninth area, which is higher understanding, culture, knowledge. The history is also relative for the ninth house, but also in the future directions. So sudden recognitions or sudden cognition of where something can just come in and go, wow, that makes perfect sense. It's like it's a sudden thought, and that can happen, especially if you're traveling. I feel like there could be like what we call downloads, when people get downloaded information. It's all coming in so fast, and then we've just got to take time to absorb it. That's what Uranus energy is like. It's like that's how we receive our downloads, is through Uranus energy. So that's quite an exciting time, and the ninth house is quite a it's a travel point, but it's also like a time of excitement, exploration, going into new things. So it's when we can feel quite free, and with the Uranus here, which represents freedom, it's perfect. Freedom is going to be ultimately all you desire, really, with Uranus in that ninth position, and it's quite perfect with Jupiter going in there. Around the 17th May. So Pluto is sitting in your fifth house, and we have a Pluto square node going on all year. So for Virgo, you have Pluto in the fifth and the node in the ninth sector up until August. So these areas, Pluto node relates to lots of fated situations around people, karmic situations, sort of where people can come in to your life unexpectedly, or just but have great importance in making changes and great effect in making changes in your life with that Pluto node. And in the ninth sector again, so another ninth house going on here for Virgo. This is again fated people that can come in to do with from overseas. So fated connections that are meant to be in your life can come from either travel or from meeting people that are traveling and that you're connecting to in your own environment. So on the 18th of the 6th, the node moves into the 8th house. So that's in June. And, that's a time when it could be really important connections being made to do with, past lives. We have a node conjunct Jupiter square Pluto happening in May, which is quite exciting. In fact, there's some really great things going on for Virgo in May, and this is the first one. So when the node is going to conjunct Jupiter in the ninth house around the 9th of May. Now this is again, all to do with connections and overseas, or where you can expand and grow. But to sum that up, that's fortunate connections coming in that are going to be very productive and positive for your future. That are that you can really share a lot with, especially in the way of travel, holidays, and having that sense of freedom. So, again, anyone with any travel plans, this is going to be a fantastic time to do with connections that can be made. Now, that node conjunct Jupiter squares Pluto. As I said, the node's squaring Pluto, and we've got Jupiter involved in May, which is I feel it's going to be a very fortunate combination happening, because it's Pluto is a slow-moving planet that just slowly and quietly creates changes and transformation over a slow period of time. And changes aren't always something that come in quickly. We can change, because we're talking about deeper changes. We can change the outer world really quickly, but the inner world takes a lot longer. And Pluto works at that inner level of, transforming our feelings, our emotions, our attitudes, our thoughts, our opinions, relative to whatever it's crossing. So here it's like, you're going to have a whole transformation happening relative to your connections and to the fortunate connections that are going on. They will be really responsible for slowly but surely bringing you into a transformational space, into new situations for the future. But like I said, this is a slow, it happens in a slow way. The other great thing Virgo has going on for May is we've got a Mars square Jupiter, and this is sitting, and the Mars square Jupiter is quite, I wouldn't normally mention the inner planets like Mars, but where we've got it sitting there for how long? For pretty much the whole month of May, Mars square Jupiter. So Mars is moving really slow at that time, and Jupiter's moving from that time. Jupiter's still in Aries, and it moves into Taurus throughout that. And as Mars is in Cancer, and it moves into Leo as they're travelling together. So not only are they travelling together as in squaring each other, which is a 90-degree angle, but they're also changing signs during that month. So they're going from a cardinal dynamic of initiation and making things happen to a real doing dynamic of fixed nature of, now we've come up with the idea, let's get on with it. So this is a very, very productive month, May, and it's like things are going to really go in your favour during this time. This is a great time to be organising anything, relative to either business work, or property, or any form of, again, for Virgo, travel with Jupiter there in the 9th. Mars sits in the 11th, and it's going to move into the 12th. So as it's in the 11th, it's going to be all connecting up to friendships. And again, like I said, with Jupiter in the 8th at that time, it's going to be, quite important friendships where you can do a lot of sharing and connecting and possibly even business together. And then as it moves from the 12th to the 9th, this is when you get to, this is in a more of a relaxed space, as in not so much of the, all the activity going on, but more where you can sit back and start to really enjoy that Mars-Jupiter productive energy. So this is a time for you to be really relaxing, I think, and enjoying yourself, actually. Even though it's a very active time, it's like everything flows so easily that there's no stress involved with that. It's just a natural, productive energy. So let's have a look at the astrology for, sorry, let's have a look at the tarot for Virgo. I'm just going to ask, what does the universe want to talk to Virgo? What messages does the universe have for Virgo today? Sorry, I'm getting a bit tongue-tied today. I didn't really go into Pluto in the 5th very clearly, but I feel that that is, the 5th house is all about where we, entertainment, enjoyment, children. So with Pluto, it's been in the 5th for quite a while for Virgo. There may be some stresses around children, or may have been stresses around children. But with the node there, sort of again feels like, you know, it's going to be whatever's been going on with Pluto there. Once the node connects up, I feel like this is going to be sorted out. The node's coming in to sort out this Pluto energy this year. Okay. So, Saturn in the 6th, Pluto in the 5th. You've got the Tower sitting here in your recent past. Nice to see it's in your past and it's not in your future. It's not the outcome. But that recent past placement is sort of, you know, I would say this is talking about the year before. This is last year. But also sort of you might still feel like you're still in that energy a little bit over January. But, you know, that is feeling a bit disruptive, drama, you know, sort of upsets. It sort of means that things have been a bit unsettled, and there just could be one thing after another that's been working a little bit hard on your nervous system and exhausting you. So there's been, you know, it may have been a bit of a stressful time last year for Virgos. I mean, I think the last few years have been a stressful time for everybody, but with the Tower here, I'm sort of saying that, you know, things have been coming to a bit of a head in the past, but I feel like that has allowed you to make the changes that you took action on, or, you know, and made, or about to take action on and make. You're definitely moving out of this energy. It looks way better as far as moving into a much clearer time, much lighter time, and a much time where there's a lot of new energy around you. So, you know, things are looking quite fresh and new energies, new situations, new people to meet. Looks exciting. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very strong theme. Tongue-tied. Very strong theme for soul connections and for soulmates coming together if they haven't already, or if they already have, working together for a common purpose and achieving something that you are both wanting together that is very, very deep in your heart. So I'm just going to show you these cards here because I really like the look of them. So this is like I said, it's a very positive, successful year this year for relationships and partnerships. And I do think Jupiter is doing some favourable things here for Virgo, sitting in that 8th position. So it's a time for Virgo to explore, to stretch out of their comfort zone a little bit and explore some more of their creative gifts, or some areas that they sort of feel like they've been neglecting with regards to their talents and skills. So, you know, the Virgos are very skillful anyway, but, you know, we can't always be utilising all our skills at once. So, you know, quite often we're just using one area, and it's like there's another area that's more closer to your heart, it's closer to your soul, and the sense of what gives you joy, and saying that this year you're going to get more time to do the things you love to do. You can expand on new ideas. If there's something new you're wanting to create or add to within your career, it's a great time for that. There's something you're wanting to develop within your career, or a development within your career, you know, that's the perfect time as well. One of your skills here, it's saying, is within communication and, you know, clear, direct communication. So, you know, that's another area that you may be utilising a lot more this year as well. So where you've had stress, like I said, and, you know, the only really stressful, I mean, when we look at stress, and that we look at, say, maybe the 6, you know, but that's more pressure. You know, it's more, I think it's Pluto sitting here in the 5th. So stress is maybe coming from family. But the 5th house, the 5th house relates to our children, and with, you know, and then if it's not our children, it could be our animals, or it could be, you know, it could be where we're just, you know, wanting to just to have our own space, or even the fact that we're trying to express who we truly are, you know, utilising our true expression of who we are. That, you know, it just feels like that's been feeling a bit squashed. and it's sort of saying that, you're moving away from those situations where, as in, situations are going to get so much easier. So when I say you're moving away, you're not actually moving away from anything, but those situations are moving away from you. Those difficulties, those stresses that have been around, that have been sort of affecting you, either your social life or your personal life, they are actually going to be made a lot easier in the near future. And it's just like you're moving into a much more calmer, easier time and a much more productive time. So saying that, Virgo, you may have been, it's like some here, they may be sitting on, sitting on some money and waiting for the right action, waiting for when do they need to take the right action. And it looks like that's going to be coming up between now and March. So it's going to be also some Virgos may be thinking about moving to a different situation, like changing location, because it's something they've been building up or preparing for a while, and they've just been waiting until they financially felt secure enough to make the change. So it's saying that you will feel secure enough and that you can move on to situations where you won't, have to deal with that stress. So if you've had that stress from in any area of your life, that's not going to continue on, like I said. But then for some, you might be taking some action to make sure that doesn't keep reoccurring, especially if it's in the work situation. Because with Saturn there in that placement, it could easily feel like, no, I'm not happy in this position of work. Not that I'm necessarily saying new positions of work for Virgo. It's more about just shifting your energy away from things and moving into the positions that are more appropriate. So it doesn't have to be a whole new career, but yes, it could be a new position. So what I'm saying up the top here is, Virgos are extremely good teachers, and they love to learn. And so we've got two combinations, one here that I use for teaching and one here that I use for training, for learning. So there's those two combinations sitting next to each other with a combination of this whole new cycle that's coming in, and the sense of relief of this is where I'm wanting to be, this is what I'm wanting to achieve. So those that are teachers, those that are have been in an area and developing their skills, it's like you are coming into a mastery time with it. And I think your skills, you will be called upon for sharing your knowledge within those skills. And for those that are wanting to step into something new, or maybe spend more time doing something excuse me, spend more time doing something that's more connected to their soul, this could be a whole new area of learning for you as well, and it could be a bit of both. There could be, because like I said, I'm seeing both here. So, I mean, as a teacher, we always are a student, we are always learning, but it's a bit more than that. It's almost like you could be teaching in your own profession, but you could be learning something completely new that's really connected to your heart. So, like really good cards here, like there's nothing here that Virgo needs to worry about, which is a really good relief, because Virgos do tend to worry. But in your mind here, it's always fun reading a Virgo mind. There is some, concerns. It's like you try. How do I say this? There's the card here is about the projection of the future, and what is my projection of the future? Now, if we expect things to not go well, if I show you the cards, you might get where I'm coming with this. So it's like here we have the future, and with Virgo here, everything's quite stable and looking really solid and good, and this is a lot around work as well. But it's like, well, if I take this leap, or if I step into the unknown, will it fail? How will it go? So I think for Virgo, it's really important, instead of being in the head and trying to analyze, because you cannot project in the future in an analytical way, unless you're going to be majorly working with statistics. We're not talking about this. What we're talking about is utilizing your power of thought, and not because it's like, oh, sure, wanting to step into this change, but going, oh, but what if it turns out bad? It could be, it could be like this, or it could be like that. So it's not saying you're thinking the worst, but you are covering your ground, and you are sort of almost setting yourself up for disappointment by expecting it could be a disappointing situation. So it's sort of showing Virgos are wanting to make some changes in their life here. It might be on a personal level to do with love, or it might be on a professional level to do with career. But either way, don't see disappointment in your future. Yes, disappointment may be there, but if you see that and project that into your projection, you can manifest that. So I think Virgo, trust your intuition, utilize your understanding of also, if you want to analyze it, look at everything that's happened in your life and look at how all the times you were scared and how well it always worked out. Each time you made a change and it was scary making that change, it always worked out for the best. So if you focus on all those successes, because they are successes, you took a leap of faith and you succeeded. If you focus on that, then you'll start to feel a little bit more confident and going, okay, I can step into this unknown territory and without fear of disappointment is really what you seem to be fearing. Feeling like it didn't quite work out. And the reality is that it's going to work out absolutely perfectly, because you have two major arcana cards up here in the outcome saying, yes, there's a big relief coming, in the sense that whatever you're worrying about, whether it be a career change, a relationship, or even family, things are going to work out where you're going to have this worry released from you. And you're coming into a new cycle of growth and learning. This is cards are talking about with the learning and the studies and the teacher card. Yeah, but it's like this is actually putting you into that position where you're going to feel like, yeah, this is where I really want to be. This is what I've worked towards for quite a while now, and it just feels like where things have been a struggle, it's like Virgo's getting an extra leg up for their patience and perseverance and commitment. Really good news about money for Virgo as well. That means that you can actually get on with these plans, ideas, and things relative to your soul. For those that are going to be bringing in new partnerships, because again, new partnerships here, very strong soul connections that we're wanting. And like I said, it's like a relief, it's like a gift from the gods, if you like. You might see it in that way. Or God, I should say. It's like this is all very connected to your soul. So whether it's going to be about career or money, if it's a new relationship, it just looks like it's going to be very financially rewarding as well. So what I'm trying to say here is that you're going to actually be able to get ahead a lot more through, again, partners' money, which again is going back to Jupiter in the 8th sector. So for Virgo, really important that you're very much your givers. You put a lot in to whatever you do, whether it's your career again or relationship, or even family, and it's about receiving as well. So it's like really good for Virgo. So your arms open. I'm ready to receive. Doing this motion is really important because it's opening up the heart chakra. But it's like receiving the gifts, receiving where you have given. You've given for a long time. You're coming into not so much, this year's a year of sort of, it's exciting. It's you're going to be feeling so connected to your heart, so connected to your soul this year. But, the next year, the year after that, is like a year when you're going to receive a lot and a lot from others. And saying that you are, get yourself ready for that and be open to receiving. I'm going to do a second spread to see what else I can see. Really busy year for work, which I think is probably normal for Virgo. They're always busy doing stuff. But, there is good opportunities and situations coming through others, and especially around career expansion and growth. And that's the other thing that I didn't actually mention with the 9th house. And the 9th house does relate to studies. I mean, they talk about higher learning with the 9th house. But, I do see it as sort of, it can represent universities. It can represent, even just getting books and teaching ourselves any subjects of particular interest. But it is absolutely a year where you're going to extend your knowledge in quite a big way with regards to, again, the outer world. So let's see what else I can see for Virgo. Yes, absolutely see some travel, and it's coming in here. travel to places that, you know, you're going to feel, again, very connected to your soul. This is where you'll feel the vibrations and the energies of places. But this is going to be a year for Virgo to feel very tuned in that way at a vibrational level to the planet, actually, and to where they connect with. So with that, it's like if you're, you know, spend time in nature. The star card is all about being in nature and just connecting in. And, you know, you might feel, if you start to feel things, you know, it's like you're actually feeling and picking up on the land itself. And you just feel like this is going to be quite enhanced. And don't be surprised if you get quite strong psychic images with that. And don't be afraid to talk about it with others, or to recognize it, or even to write, you know, write it down if you don't want to share what you're getting, because there's a lot more insight and information coming to Virgo. So this is a year of not turning your back on your passions, but running towards your passions. It's a year of, you know, it's not all about hard work this year. There is, you know, definitely more play in here. There's more, I think, Virgo, because it's like, because you're coming out of this tower energy as well. It's like, you know, you're going to start to really do some things for yourself. And Virgo needs a few knocks before they will actually be prepared to do things like that for themselves, unless they've got a lot of fire in their chart. You know, they can be very selfless with you know, the way they do use their time, utilize their time. It looks like with this that there's going to be could be some changes for Virgo around property. I think it's more like in the second half, or could even be near the end of the year, especially where they're not connecting with others, or where they're not, what's the word? If you know, any Virgos that are in situations where there's arguments or disputes, or where they feel like their control's being squashed, they're not going to put up with it this year. In fact, I don't think they're going to put up with it at all in the future. If you have been putting up with it in the past, if you're feeling like, you know, your boss has been like, you know, not treating you right, or you know, they're going to just move on to, you know, it's almost like they're going to stand up for themselves. And Virgos are pretty good at that normally, but it's more than just standing up for yourself. It's more like, no, I'm actually moving away from the things I'm not enjoying anyway. I'm moving away from the people that are trying to squash my energy, and I'm moving into my own space, you know. So Pluto, you know, it's like when I look the cards, and then I start to really get what the planets are doing in the sectors. Pluto in the fifth, you know, the fifth is all about your self-expression, and Pluto's going, oh, you know, you're not allowed to express who you are, or you know, you're feeling squashed in that situation. So, you know, any Virgos that have been, you know, really affected by that sector, because some Virgos will be more affected by that sector than others. It all depends on your placements, and you've got to look at things individually to get a really you know, more defined reading. But you know, any Virgos that have been feeling that, you know, I just think they're going to be taking their power back, and they're just not going to feel bad about what they say or do, and they're going to do it for themselves. And I think that's a fantastic thing, because there seems to be a new plan coming up here for Virgo to establish a lot more independence in their own working situation if they don't have it already. But also, I think, you know, home situation, if there's any stresses or arguments or disputes around home situation, again, it's like they're going to move away from that situation. They're going to break through that situation with a plan. Now, there could be building plans or renovation plans going on during this, I'd say after June, actually. I don't think it's coming up. It seems to be more for the middle of the year. You know, Virgos could be looking at building, or they could be looking at purchasing land, and I'm sorry, they could be looking at building or reconstruction, or development plans. The thing with Virgo is that they seem to know, you know, this year you're going to know exactly what you want to be around, the vibration you want, the environment you want, you know, whether you want to be in nature, you would definitely want peace. The moving is going to be on your mind, and renovations was the word I was looking for before. I was talking about your building plans, renovations is also something else. But there doesn't seem to be moving on the mind. But, you might have a big section, decide you're just going to build another house on it. It's not necessarily saying that you're, physically going to relocate, but you are looking for something a bit different here. And I think that's going to be more so for those that have been in situations that they feel have been ongoing struggles relative to relationship or with dealing with others. And I think this is going to be effective of those with Saturn sitting there in the 7th sector. And, just feeling like, do I want to be in this situation? Do I want to be in this relationship? So that doesn't mean you're going to, it's not saying anyone's going to be separating, or Virgo's separation doesn't seem to be the theme. It seems to be more standing up for yourself and for what's right and moving forward together and making plans together, actually. So there could be even outer circumstances or situations around a couple here that are affecting Virgos that, they just think, no, we're going to make that change, and you're going to be in agreement on making it together. So it looks really good for Virgo for this year. It's a great year. It's a year of growth relative to understanding, and also it's a year of truly finding, where your happiness lies, what makes you happy, and getting a better balance with leisure, with time for yourself, and recognizing at another level as well, your inner world more. What's going on for you emotionally, what feels right for you, what doesn't, and taking the right actions with that. At the same time, it's sort of, Virgo's not an impulsive sign, so I don't need to tell you not to, leap out before you try to work things out. It's not about that, but there's just like, in some situations there might be defensiveness here with regards to making changes or moving, and that would be coming from another person. And like I said, that could be coming from a family member, that could be coming from a partner. That situation where there's that defensiveness, that seems to be very temporary, and it seems to be in a position where you don't even have to experience that. It's just going to depend on the patterns that seem to be breaking. But, the main thing here for Virgo is you're out of the tower, you're out of the pressure time. You're coming into a time where it's going to be much easier. The first half of this year is just going to sort of cruise along, actually. It's not going to be hard at all. And really good situations around money coming in, which means that you can establish more. It means you can get your building plans done, and you can purchase the property you want. And, what I really like here with Virgo as well is the way you're feeling very excited and connected and passionate about new things that you're learning and doing. So, looks good for Virgo. So I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.